Greetings to all of humanity. It's really a joy, it's a pleasure, it's an honor to be out here in nature as usual, bring this message of emancipation to you, whereby I'm pointing you to look no other place but to look inwardly to discover that your real identity is your divinity. And that is why it's a pleasure for me to speak to you concerning my experience of heaven and hell. And there are many people who would have spoken about having the experience of heaven and hell. And I want to give you my experience. And I would have come into that experience when I was 17 years of age. And that was the time also that I was given the coat of many colors. And so when you read in the Bible, you read of Joseph and how his father loved him so much that he gave him that coat of many colors. But if we look at the father of Joseph, which was Jacob, would understand that he had a change of name. It was Israel, and Israel means to rule as God. Now, before I go any further, I want to let you know what I teach, okay? I teach that the Bible addresses the human mind and must be interpreted psychologically. That the Bible is not literal, neither is the Bible secular history. And that the Bible is written symbolically, and it have no reference to anyone that existed thousands of years ago or to any actual event that took place on earth thousands of years ago. From Genesis 1 to Revelation 22, it's all a great psychological drama. It all have to do with the human psyche. But at that young age of me coming into Christianity, which I should say secular Christianity, I didn't have this understanding. Okay, now it all started when I was a very young boy, a little boy, with tears in my eyes. I beat my chest and asked myself, who am I? And who is God? So I started out at a very, very young age to seek to know for myself, who is God? And who am I? So my whole ambition in life was to discover who am I and who is God. My ambition was different from most young people that I know of, because most people have ambition to earn certain things in this life. But my ambition was different. So I consciously decided that I'm going to take the path through secular Christianity, because that is the lifestyle in my country. That's how we all grew up. We've been taught secular Christianity. So I decided to go to church and start seeking. Now, from a very young age, I started having mystical experiences. And as I said before, when I was 17 years of age, I had the dream of heaven and hell. Now, and in that dream, it's as if the sky opened and a voice spoke to me and says, I am he who have been spoken of old, and I've come. And I was looking in the sky to see a man coming from the sky. I was looking to see the appearance of Jesus. But I heard a voice, but I saw no one. And when I look on the other side, I saw so many people who were tormented, and they were running like to the rocks and they want the rocks to fall on them. It's like they wanted us to experience death, and death wasn't coming to them. But the whole thing is that they were tormented. They were scared. But here I was on the other side, and a great gulf separated us. It looked like a river without water, and it dried up. And I can see them and they can see me, but I can't go over to them and they can't come over on my side. But over on my side, I was happy. I was joyful. I was in peace. But here I was saying, Jesus, here am I, take me. But there was no man to take me. Instead, a rainbow came down and engulfed me like a halo around me. And when I became older and come into the understanding of who I am, that's when I come to realize that it is the coat of many colors that was given to me, because I would have had many other experiences. Okay, like the burning bush that doesn't consume, and the man that came from the burning bush, and my experience of the virgin birth, where I came out of my skull, became a little baby again, and where the son appeared to me and called me father in a dream. Okay, and come to realize that I am the virgin that gave birth to the Christ. Now, my brother, my sisters, heaven and hell represent state of mind, state of consciousness. Right now, I am living that heaven of which I would have experienced when I was only 17 years of age. I've come into it. And that's why I can tell you that those people who have those same kind of dreams like me, it all have to do with their interpretation. And every time they interpret what they would have dreamt, it still have to be mental, it still have to be psychological. Because what? A word is a thought expressed. It all have to do with their perception. Now, my brother, my sisters, I come to realize that when you're dwelling in a state of fear, limitation, mediocrity, when you believe that you are human, trying to be spiritual, instead of having the understanding that you are spirit having a human experience, you're in hell. You're living in a place of fear, doubt, guilt, shame, condemnation. And that's why I come to realize that the preachers are preaching people into hell, into a place of, into a state of mind of fear. And I come to realize that I am preaching the people into a place of heaven, leading them into a place of love, joy, peace, happiness, having the right state of mind, teaching them that it is their own thought that is creating their reality, and that they can create their reality consciously. Teaching them that every action comes from a thought. It is the manifestation of a thought. Teaching them the laws that governs the universe and the laws that governs humanity. And teaching them everything is in nature. As you sow, so shall you reap. So if you go on the internet, you see so many people speaking about their experience of heaven and hell, and of God and of the devil. It's all mental. It's all psychological. It all took place in their perception. It's in our perception. It all took place when we went to bed. So whatever consciousness that you go to bed with would mean how you will enter into the realm of the spirit world, and what experience you can experience and how you will interpret it when you get back here in this three-dimensional world. So my brother, my sisters, when you read of the rich man who died and went to hell, and the poor man, the beggar man, who died also and found himself in Abraham's bosom, it is teaching you of different states of mind or states of consciousness. And do you realize that the religious preachers use this scripture at every funeral to scare the shit out of the living ones, so that they will become a member of their religion and pay them tithes and offering? Because people are so fearful of hell and of the devil. Could you imagine? I am here right now bringing this message to you. And I'm telling you, I've experienced heaven and hell. Like anyone else. Who would tell you what they dream about Jesus and they dream they went to heaven and all of these things. It's states of mind. And no one can convince me otherwise. Because they have to use their mind to try to convince me otherwise. That's why, my brother and my sister, when it comes to self-realization, you can never be proven wrong. And that's what inspired me to write that book called Can't Be Proven Wrong by Any Christian. By just using a simple law that anyone could look around and see. That the divine law of reproduction is that every species and every seed must reproduce after its own kind. Whatever thought or whatever state of mind that you are living in, you must bring forth that fruit. So if from a little child you've been born into this world and you're born in a state of amnesia, which is a state of forgetfulness, your mother, your father, your teachers, everyone teaching you to believe in a God in the sky, to believe in a power outside of yourself, to believe in a devil, to believe in a hell. What the hell do you think you're going to experience in your dreams? You're going to experience those things that were taught to you. Because those are the things that they were impressing your subconscious mind with between the time when you're born into this world up to the age of 7 and 8. And whatever you've been programmed with, that would become your lifestyle. That would become what makes meaning in your life. So my brother, my sisters, don't let anyone scare you with their experience that they are interpreting to fit their agenda or to fit their belief system. Everything is mental. Everything is psychological. Everything has to first be a thought. It has to first be imagined. Everything is taking place in our perception. And each and every one of us born in this world with will, perception, intuition, imagination, reasoning, memory. These mental faculties, they are our powers. And we have to merge them together to live in our magical self. We have to put them together to vibrate out of hell into heaven. To vibrate from your lower self into your higher self. Your higher state of consciousness. Where you're happy. Where you are joyful. Where you do not allow things like what is happening in politics. And happening in the economy. And happening in the religious mentality of the world around you. You do not allow those things to shift you. You do not allow the world to get you in the rat race where they have you to compete and stabbing a brother or sister in the back for a promotion and the job. Because why? You're now living in your higher self. You now recognize that you're God in flesh. That you're the Lord and Master of your own destiny. That you can create your reality consciously. And so you look around and you see so many people living in stupidity. You see so many people who are delusional. And you see that they live in this world and they never question anything. They believe everything. They are believers. But you find yourself to be a seeker. You find yourself to be different. You find yourself always thinking and questioning what was fed to you. And you find time because you realize that you are an introvert. So you isolate yourself and the world think that you're strange. And so my brother and my sisters, you are vibrating on a different frequency. And those who are still trapped in superstition fail to realize that everything in this world is energy, vibration, and frequency. There are people who would believe that I'm crazy when I say this is not real. This isn't solid. The only thing that is real is the very life in you that is real. That is God. For God is life and life is God. You cannot separate God from life or life from God. God can never be created or destroyed because God is energy, vibration, frequency. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, can be transformed. And that is why all around us we are seeing what? Transmutation of energy. We saw first of all, Alexander Graham Bell had the idea of the telephone. Now we have cell phone. The cell phone is actually a mini computer. A computer is a replica of a man. We are living in the age of fullness. We are living in an age of enlightenment. The great awakening is taking place now. And that is why we know those who have had dreams of heaven and hell and interpret heaven and hell in a superstitious, with a superstitious understanding based on fear. They've been brainwashed and they're deceiving themselves. So my brother and my sisters, if this is the first time that you're listening to me and what I'm saying to you, it makes sense. When I tell you that I've had dream of heaven and hell, they're states of mind, they're states of consciousness. Is where you are dwelling psychologically. If it makes sense to you, I've given you my experience, and you see the life that I'm living right now, and the contribution I'm making to humanity. You be the judge for yourself. So I'm saying to you, my brothers and my sisters, if this is the first time that you've been listening to me, and what I'm saying to you, it really makes sense to you, it's really resonating with you, then it is for you. And I'm encouraging you that if you haven't subscribed already, to subscribe, to like, to comment, or to share this message. But I want to let you know that this message I bring to you, that it is the singular, yes, the singular message of self-realization, of which Matthew 6:22 says, if your eye be single, your whole body will be full of light. My brothers and my sisters, hadn't it been that I would have experienced that singular eye in me, when I awake within myself, like a fiery being, and would have heard the unearthly wind, and ascend and high, and roll the stone away, and came out and became invisible, became one with the wind, I wouldn't have been here bringing this message to you, saying to you that this body is the tomb in which the Christ is buried. That this skull of yours is Golgotha. That the crucifixion take place on your body. And that God is your imagination, the creator in everyone. And that without him, there isn't anything made that was made. And all things were made by him. Saying to you, everything that has ever been made, it was first imagined. And everything else that ever going to be made, it must first be imagined. Therefore, if you do not use your imagination to create your reality consciously, then you're going to live the rest of your life in doubt, fear, and mediocrity. And you will be living a life in hell. Therefore, my brothers and my sisters, I always say to you, let no one deceive you by making you believe that the symbol on the US dollar of the eye above the pyramid is an evil symbol. It is the all-seeing eye of God in you, who is your imagination, the creator in man. For you will have an awakened imagination and come to realize that it is the rising of the S-U-N in a S-O-N. And that's why I always give you the symbol of the single eye, saying to you that when you have the experience, you come to realize that the sun, as in the S-U-N, parallels the human imagination, and the human imagination parallels the sun. For without the sun, there is no life, and there is no light. And without the human imagination, there isn't anything made that was made. And the sun is what powers all of humanity. Therefore, there is no Jesus of 2,000 years ago that can be the light of the world. Because there is no S-O-N who could exist unless there first be the S-U-N. There could be no life on the earth without the sun. No cheese could exist, no plants, no animal can exist, and no one can exist without the sun. That's why, my brothers and my sisters, in the Bible, in Psalms 84:11, it tells you that the Lord thy God is a sun, S-U-N, and a shield, and no good thing will he withhold from you. Son has never withhold any good thing from you and will never withhold any good thing from you. And in Malachi 4:2, you also told that the Son of righteousness shall arise in you with healing in his wings. That is why I'm bringing healing to humanity, by pointing you to look no other place but to look in order to discover that your real identity is your divinity, and encouraging you to use your mind power, which is your solar power, your sun power, your God power, your creative power. And most of all, do you realize it is the sexual power inside of you? Use it to achieve your every desire. So with that being said, I want to say peace, love you all, I'm out.